the official podcast of FCS Fans Nation, with your hosts Kyler Neal, Matthew Frazee, and Jamie Williams.
FCS Fans Nation, welcome to Texas. Don't worry about the delay of that intro there. We've already been indulging in a few drinks. Welcome to the FCS Fans Nation podcast. Brandon Owens of Cocky Nation, the Rev from Waxun. Ladies and gentlemen, bow down to the Taco King, Mr. Brian Thompson, of course, Jamie Williams, Kyler Neal, myself. Thank you so much for joining us. You are live in the Airbnb of the FCS Fans Nation Network, and we are here in Frisco, Texas, ready to do our live college game day feel style episode and provide you guys all the information for who's going to come.
Hold on, before we start back. Is Brandon's face clear from any beer?
Is there any beer?
Anything blood in Brandon's face? Are we good?
I think we're okay.
Okay.
From what I can, if you do recall, we recorded in the rain doing this last night in the spring season.
A long time ago.
And Brandon was in a lawn chair, and he was so low from the camera.
Right. He's 5'2". I mean, we put a booster seat here. You sit on extra cushions.
But we made it
5'6".
Brandon, we are happy to have you back here for Cocky Nation. How are you feeling about that matchup tomorrow? You ready to go?
I'm excited. I've been wanting to see this game and this matchup for a long time.
And
I'm excited.
I have to give Brandon a lot of credit because I always made fun of his brackets running the bracket challenge on the page, but you predicted SDSU versus NDSU in your bracket. I'm not going to give your prediction away. For those of you joining us live, thank you so much. They're all starting to roll in here. We have a few options around the table. Of course, we've got our what are we drinking here right now?
We are drinking some Prosecco in a splash. And by a splash, I mean a droplet of pineapple orange juice.
Beautiful. It tastes.
Yeah, I am not. But if you remember 5 or 6 pods ago, we got a question of our drinks. And I said mango habanero and Mountain Dew. Well, Rev was kind enough yesterday to pick up the mango habanero whiskey that I do drink. So that is what I do have here this morning. Thank you, Rev.
I've been told that I'm a national treasure.
That's right. You are. Well, before we get things started, I propose a cheers to the Frisco weekend, gentlemen. It's going to be an amazing time. To the winner gets the spoils, I guess.
What?
Really, that's not what
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a North Dakota toast.
Yes, North Dakota. All right, what I won't mess up here is if you guys stick with us through the live stream, or if you're watching this on recap over Saturday and Sunday before the game, we have blue Gatorade here. We also have a half-drinking Mountain Dew. And in these 6 cups you're seeing on the table, we've got some whiskey. So we're going to make our game predictions here at the end of the episode, and we will pour in the color of the team we believe we will win. So let's not waste any time, guys. Let's get things going. Our fans are rolling in right now. I see Todd Palmer and our good friend Ron Lowney's on here. Adam Willie, good morning, good sir. Your guys' questions, of course, can drive this podcast. Anything you guys ask, I'm going to be popping your information up here on the screen. That being said, let's get things started with the basics. And we're going to start with you, Mr. Jamie Williams. You are the FBS-style fan with James Madison, so you're the most outlier here. Brandon will soon join you. How are you thinking about this matchup as we're literally within 24 hours to getting close to kickoff?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to be able to see a matchup between these two fan bases, between these two teams, obviously, especially. But just to get out here, see the North Dakota State, the South Dakota State fans, just excited. Everybody decided. The Bunnies rolled in a little bit later than the Bison from what I saw yesterday, but they're all here. They're all ready to go. The game should be awesome tomorrow. The atmosphere, I don't expect it to be quiet. Sorry, Bison, quiet on offense. You will be, but South Dakota State fans will be loud. I'm not sure that either team is prepared how loud this place is going to be tomorrow because it's going to be just decibel level up the entire game when just screaming and yelling. And let's just hope that the turf monster doesn't attack anybody this time.
Knock on wood.
or whatever we have around you.
There was a post the other day that said the field is in prime condition.
All right.
Coach
So-
Brian?
Does that mean it's in Colorado?
Coming to the FBS from the FCS.
Did you
soon.
guys listen to the Sam Herder's podcast though? When they had
This week, yes.
the AD for is it NDSU on Patty?
Pat, no, she's the
She's the
commissioner.
commissioner.
So she was talking about like the turf, right? And Tom from the Big Sky proposed to bring in basically a temporary turf. So they couldn't do it this year, but they're thinking about next year potentially. They're actually going to have turf on top of this grass, which would be amazing. She was like, it's pretty expensive, but it seems like the Big Sky is really trying to push that. So that's going to be fantastic if they can figure that out by next year. She said we can't do it this year. It's a little too soon,
Right.
but they're going to raise some funds and hopefully get that done next year. So it's going to be sweet.
The teams are going to tear it up for sure. And
Yeah.
the thing that I'm curious about, I've spent a lot of time with Taco King on this trip. We traveled down together.
Gross.
We were talking a lot about North Dakota State and just kind of the shortcomings of the depth. And, you have the portal impacts and you're looking at the depth chart for the game. And we're feeling a little behind the 8 ball in comparison to like where SDSU sits with health and their team. And they're clearly the best team in the FCS. Right now.
But at the end of the day, it's next man up mentality.
Yep.
And NDSU has had that next man advantage for the past 8 years.
For sure.
If you look at FCS
Longer than
teams,
that,
NDSU is one of the few teams that you can legit say has backups that are usually good players.
Yeah.
And so now
Developed backups.
developed
already.
backups, yeah. And now NDSU, from what you're looking, the D line is going to be a young D line out there against this is hard to say as a Bison fan, but I'm going to say probably the best offensive line right now with NDSU's 2 injuries in the FCS with South Dakota State.
Absolutely.
So,
And that's the question I have for you, Brian. Like, what are you hearing about the injuries and who's going to be there and who's potentially not?
Are they playing games with the release of their depth chart? Because they released it and the brothers are not on there.
Yeah.
Either one.
Well,
are on the depth.
even in 2015, Carson Wentz wasn't on the
Yeah.
depth chart when
So
going into the
is-
Jacksonville State game.
Is
Bunch of
NDSU
liars.
Hey,
Bill Belichick at his best.
Bunch of liars.
I'm going to have to go with it. We talked about this, Matt and I did. I don't think there's any pressure on NDSU.
No, and Trey Lance, I heard he's playing.
You know,
Big time.
it's a possibility. The rumor's out there that he kept some of his eligibility.
I think he's got a few more years.
And it's going to come back and do, to South Dakota State what he did to JMU.
Well, it'll be interesting to see.
Oh, my nose itch.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. And, of course, the depth and injuries are certainly a concern. But it can't be an excuse because NDSU has faced plenty of teams like Eastern Washington 2018. There was
Yeah,
like
they were
11
down
starters.
Shut up.
10 players.
I mean, even in the
11
playoffs,
players.
that's
Yeah.
part of the game. And you can't preach next man up the whole time and then make excuses. This is the big matchup. You show up and you try to win the game. An interesting statistic, because you guys aren't listening to
Football.
ESPN, you're listening to us. Mark Gronowski actually has never thrown a touchdown pass against North Dakota State.
What a bum.
You would think that that's a negative. You would think I'm coming at him as like that's a slight.
But he's never lost.
But he has-
And that actually proves a big point is that if Mark Gronowski literally doesn't have to throw a touchdown pass and South Dakota State is 2-0 with him as a starter because he was injured during the one matchup, that just means that what they want to do of gutting NDSU up the middle and a slow progressive offense that gains the time of possession is working. And he's the kind of guy who has the it factor, and I think that'll be a big deal.
And if the Mozart twins don't play, then that's even a bigger deal.
That's a big
Yeah.
deal. And when he said the brothers, of course, he's referring to the Mozart twins, 2 big, beefy D tackles that NDSU, unfortunately, it's looking like might not have because of injuries. Rev, you are one of our charms in Rainbow Row. We always sit in the same section, and we'll be in section 116 this year. 115 in the end zone. We're a little ways over. And you see the variety of colors of purple from black to yellow to white to whatever people are wearing their T-shirts. That's our row. Rev, you're one of the most fun people in there. What are you thinking about this matchup? You've been high on SDSU, kind of like Kyler before most folks.
He's way before me.
And what are you thinking about the Bunnies here?
I mean, whenever you look at the team, I said at the beginning of the year that I thought they were the best, full put together team in FCS. And I think that stands by it. And when you look at them against NDSU, I mean, their line is bigger. Their O line has an advantage there. Isaiah Davis is just gonna have a field day, especially if the twins are out, right? just as a neutral person, though, just the fact that we get to come watch a rivalry game for a national championship, a game that everybody says whenever the game actually happens in Brookings or in Fargo, it's one of the best atmospheres to go to. The fact that we're getting it down here, this is great.
Yeah. This matchup has never meant more.
Yeah. This matchup,
it's not just for a rock or piece of.
And we don't have to go travel to a crappy place to watch it.
Yeah,
Brookings is horrible.
I will say, all right, I got to get one slam in there. Every single time NDSU wins the national championship, the other fan base says this. They go, well, I'm still a winner because I don't have to go live in Fargo. And every time that holds up, you get to live down in Houston. You get to go live down in beautiful Alabama area. It always holds up. If NDSU were to beat SDSU and SDSU fans were to say, well, at least I don't have to go live in Fargo. I'm sorry, that doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up. You're going to Brookings, so I'm sorry. For once, it actually is a different way. So it should be very interesting. All right, Brandon, you have Cocky Nation for the podcast. You guys are moving up to the FBS ranks. So you still made the drive here, listening to some Texas music on your way down. What do you think is kind of an X factor between these two teams? Is it as simple as the trenches, or is there something more to it?
Well, I think it is the trenches, but also you have to consider the certain players, especially for South Dakota, that are on their depth chart right now. The Yankee twins, Tucker Kraft, Isaiah Davis, Granowski, like that whole group of guys right there. When they're all on the field together, SDSU is unstoppable.
It defines weapons.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Super low.
And as good as your secondary is, NDSU, you don't have an answer over the middle for Chuckle Craft.
No, we
don't.
And
that's going to be the X factor. Is how it's not Isaiah Davis. The trenches are going to be what they are. We know that's key. NDSU is experienced in the secondary. They have a great pass defense, but I'm not sure the linebackers or the safeties can cover Tucker Kraft, similar to.
Right. He's still at the local though.
Yeah, Tucker Kraft was at the bar last night.
Hey, let's not call that out. He was very well behaved.
Was
he
at the
did
bar?
I
lie?
Let's take a pause. We did see him out.
Kind of weird.
Where we saw his doppelganger.
He was not drinking. He was not doing anything crazy.
We're not calling out Tucker Kraft. We're just stating the facts.
He was listening to the Rev sing karaoke all night, and that's why he left early.
That's why they got a noise complaint.
Do not believe for 1 second South Dakota State fans are out there partying. That is ridiculous. Brian Thompson, we had they were talking. Jamie was just talking about Tucker Kraft and some linebackers, and you kind of made kind of look like you really wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I heard Cox is coming back for this game from West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
I heard he's gets to come back for his last game.
So what you're saying is all your good players now start to transfer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our best one went to JMU.
That's right.
So far what we've had to deal with when we're here at the Airbnb apparently is some sort of dog. Is that an actual dog outside?
I think so. Brandon, you want to shut that door? Maybe?
We've got a barking dog if you guys
I don't even know if you guys can hear it because it's pretty far away and the mic is decent, but
it might be one of those lions out there.
Yeah.
Those lines might be pissed.
Before we get some more discussion about the game, guys, just going to call out some fan comments here. Of course, Ron Lowney. Ron, you're one of our best YouTube fans on here.
He's not here because Montana State lost.
He thinks it'll be an old-fashioned brawl.
Slobber knocker.
Slobber Ron's right.
Time for the big boys to actually be able to eat a little bit. We also have our awesome Y-Town, Youngstown fan who says, to our fellow Missouri Valley Conference opponents, best of luck to SDSU and NDSU this weekend from Youngstown, Ohio. Go Youngstown. P.S. I think this is the Bunnies' year. SDSU by 5. He's taking the under in the Vegas call, right? We're at about 6 and a half.
I've seen 5.5 to 6.
Quick question on
forth.
a rebuttal on that. And I want to know all of your guys' opinions because I think you already know where I stand. Do you root for your conference if you are not playing in a deep?
Depends who the team is.
Yeah.
Do you root for the conference?
All right, one at a time.
Yep.
Would you root for the conference if they're in the Natty?
Yeah, I would.
Do you root for the conference?
So the first time Sam Houston and North Dakota State played, I came to that game and I was sitting with some of my friends who went to Sam, and I was, I said I would support Sam. So I did that 1 year. After that, hell no.
But it's Sam, but the conference.
But it depends on who it is, right?
Okay.
And so because if it's someone I don't like Charleston State, no.
Zero chance. Zero.
Probably not.
Hell no. I hate the conference.
I want the Valley to be strong enough for NDSU's ranking to get better for the seeding. I could would never in a million years cheer for a conference opponent.
No, I don't want any conference opponent to be like, we won a national championship. I'm like, well, screw you. I can't make it. I want
if they've
everyone
got
else
to the
learn.
national championship, that's going to help NDSU's ranking.
Yeah.
By playing their
Sure,
obviously
have
a top
deep runs.
team,
Don't win.
But I don't ever want the
The CAAF's obviously not
other
doing good.
team from the
Sunbelt, I'll
conference.
work for them in the bowl.
Yeah, let's go with the Penguins. I didn't want the Penguins to beat you guys the year they beat it because they can come and recruit a kid against NDSU and they go, we win national championships
But it's
too.
also
You are
Youngstown.
welcome.
It's also Youngstown. Like, sorry, Matt.
Yeah, it is. Right? I mean, it's also, but you still get to hold that trophy. But still,
I do have a question. Well, first off, Grant Walker, did NDSU fans back SDSU in 2020? I will say, Grant, that I did see on our page a lot of NDSU and Valley fans say, I'm supporting the Valley.
Yeah.
They really actually did.
Yep.
I did not.
It's weird.
I was hoping
gross.
Santa Houston would win. But I picked SDSU to win. I'll give it that. Another thing, Grant, I have to put right here. Grant Walker says, maybe it's one of the pool lions. You guys, if you don't follow us on social media, our Airbnb has lions next to the pool, which is pretty cool.
This place is way too nice for us. We
It's
should
way
not-
too nice for us.
So
We should
thank
be-
you guys for supporting all of that money coming in through YouTube. We are balling. We got a massage chair, 18
that thing is
bedrooms.
nice. That is
I
nice.
mean, this chandelier is the size of most people's cars.
Yeah.
So thank you, YouTube money.
Thanks to everyone who's tuning in so far. Bob Baker right here. Bison are an underdog. Not so fast. Hashtags horns up, he says.
Yeah, there.
Ron Lowy. I will always support the Big Sky teams. Very cool. I want to go around the table here, gents. All right, we're going to start with you, Brandon. I'm going to give you positional groups, and I want you to talk a little bit about who you think has the advantage. If you have a reasoning why, I'll start you off. I'll give you the trenches. We'll go offensive line against offensive line. Who do you think is going to have an advantage? Offensive line versus defensive line. Who do you think has advantages?
I think SDSU does. They are bigger. They're more physical. Ever since I've been down here, I mean, Rev can tell you, we've been talking about how size can affect how fast you are. I don't think that affects SDSU this year. I think they've done enough conditioning to where they can play physical. They have the muscle power to contain NDSU's defensive line and be able to get the job done.
They're not going to wear down
Right.
on the defensive line.
Right.
either.
Rev, this one very intriguing here because I'm curious what you really literally have some of the two best positional groups here. Receivers versus secondaries again for both offenses and defenses. What do you think?
Well, do I got to complete more than one of these answers? That's a can joke. But anyway, so
I was just gonna say, I was like, you sucker.
No, but I mean, if I'm looking at this, I mean, you got the Yankee twins, you got I guess you include Tucker Craft because he's out there versus the NDSU secondary. I think because of how Gronowski's slinging the ball out to them, the advantage is going to be to SDSU. And again, like it was said, it's maybe not to the Yankee twins. It's going to be to Tucker Craft because of where he's going to be. NDSU's got some great receivers, but South Dakota State, their defense, they've like moved players in and out all season due to injury and stuff. They've all gotten a lot of experience this year. And I think that gives them the advantage against the NDSU receiving core.
Okay, Brian, I got an intriguing one here for you. Running backs. Obviously, Isaiah Davis is a freak, and number 3 for SDSU, their backup, Mar Johnson's been really great. And NDSU has dealt with a lot of injury and portal news. However, they still got some studs back there. Who do you think has a running back advantage?
SDSU does. Davis is a freak. I mean, in SDSU's line, well, I don't agree they're bigger than NDSU. If you look at them, NDSU's line is just as big as SDSU, if actually not a little bigger, and the best player in the FCS on the line is at NDSU.
Cody Mauk.
Yeah, with Mauk. But
Best headshot too.
yeah, best headshot by
Best
far.
headshot,
The edge goes to SDSU with this situation right now, Davis back there, and how well SDSU has developed their line over the years. Because in the series, NDSU just ran over, and SDSU just said, "We need to model this," and they have, and they've done a fantastic job at it. So, with the depth issues at NDSU right now, Davis, I'm going to say SDSU has the advantage there. I don't think it's huge, though.
Okay.
I do not think it's huge. NDSU's line is good. Regardless of Miller out and out, with 2 starters out, NDSU's line is still the second best line in the FCS. I'm going to give the edge to South Dakota State, but it's still the second best offensive line in the FCS.
And I give a lot of credit to the Jack Rabbit Illustrated guys because they're the ones who keep talking about. They go, why are nobody's talking about NDSU's offensive line?
Yeah,
they lost a starter, but they're acting like it's just completely irrelevant in the matchup.
Had the best offensive line the last 12 years.
They can move.
And don't. Here's you look at the game. You give NDSU 3 weeks to prepare for somebody or any team, but you give NDSU 3 weeks.
Brian, I'm glad you said that.
I'm not ever going to say they're an underdog. I believe, but they're not out of it.
I'm glad you brought that up because it rolls right into who I'm going to give Jamie. Jamie, coaching edge.
Oh.
What do you think? NDSU, SDSU.
Yeah, I have been pounding the table for weeks that saying with regards to the playoffs, I would rather play NDSU in Fargo than Frisco. And that's because every time you give NDSU 3 weeks to prepare, they will know exactly what you do well. They will know how to take it away. It's that kind of that Bill Belichick mindset. They're going to try to take away Tucker Kraft.
No, they have to.
They're going to try to take away Isaiah Davis. So Ken Gronowski and the Yankee Twins beat that secondary. Mm-hmm. Now, Stig came out with some plays, when they played Sam Houston, when they only still had a week. So they've been in through Frisco. They've been on the losing end.
And their game
Stig's
plan
been there
really got
forever.
thrown off. Their game plan really got thrown off when they lost their QB.
Yes. Yeah. And, with Stig's been there so long, he's had assistants graduate to head coaching job. He's got a nice coaching tree. This is where it's even, and I would still give a slight edge to North Dakota State. And Matt Entz, I feel like for some reason he gets a little bit of a bum rap because he's just playing with Kleiman's guys. Well, Kleiman was playing with Bowles guys. It's a factory. Right. And I know you guys will always talk about Kramer over and over, just conditioning.
If he's there.
And that's consistently through this entire run. So slight edge coaching to NDSU, and that is not a slight for Stig, who absolutely deserves the Eddie Robinson Award that he's going to be awarded tonight. But slight edge Matt Entz and his staff right now, because I do not want to play NDSU with 3 weeks to prepare. I happen to have to see it twice when both times I felt like roster-wise, we were the better team.
Yep.
Both times. And a lot of NDSU fans who can be neutral have said that.
Yeah,
but
edge there.
When you read a play and you can get a fake field goal touchdown and we don't adjust to Trey Lance for 3.5 quarters, just the game planning side for NDSU is a huge advantage. And that's what's going to keep this game close or give NDSU an edge. Coaching matters at this level, especially when the talent's close.
Great feedback. I'm going to take the easy one.
The mascot?
The quarterbacks and the mascots. You, however, Kyler, Neal, and I were debating last night over Soda Pop.
I don't remember.
About the pressure of these teams. Who has the advantage of mentally not having to worry as much about the pressure if that exists?
I actually, and this is where it seems like everyone disagrees with me, but I don't care. I don't think anyone has pressure in this game. NDSU has won every single title. Who cares? They have no pressure. SDSU hasn't won one either. So if they lose, they're like, all right, we lost to NDSU and everyone does. So guess what? We're the second best team. We're not supposed to win when it's NDSU still in the FCS.
Oh, I want to jump in so bad.
I know you can. Again, I don't think there's any true pressure. It's just both teams want to beat the shit out of the other team because they're rivals. Yeah. That's the only pressure. It's more, can we beat our rival? I don't think there's actually true pressure in the terms of if we lose this, are we never going to be able to come back? No, they're going to probably be back next year. Both teams has a really good chance to come back. We are going to see this matchup, I do think, multiple times. That the committee has been trying to find this matchup. I hate the narrative online. They're always on upsides. F you. They've been on different sides 5 of the last 6 years. This just hasn't happened. We are going to see this a couple times. I really don't think there's any true pressure on both teams. They're going to treat this as a rivalry game. They're going to just treat this as, hey, we want to just show we are better than our rivals.
I think the pressure is on the fans and not the team.
Yeah. Oh, you stole it from me. Yeah.
Well, there's no true pressure on it's the fans.
No SDSU fan wants to hear NDSU fans continue to say, you can have the rock a few times, but you'll never get it when it matters. Yeah. And no Bison fan wants to hear, well, you had your 9 natties, but we were the ones who got you first and took it from you, and this is our field now. Nobody wants to hear that. But does that matter to the players? Maybe in a legacy fund somewhat? Brian, you being a former college athlete, how would a player think like that?
Players think different than fans.
Yep,
I mean, there's
Fans suck.
Fans suck. They do.
I mean, not the FCS fans.
Yeah.
Nation.
No, FCS Fans Nation is amazing.
You guys are there.
As a player, you have to drown out all the noise.
Yeah.
You have to. You can't. I mean, you can take a little of the what's said behind closed, or
Right.
and use it as
Bulletin
poster board
board
material. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you're playing a game that you've been playing since you've been 6 years old.
Yep.
7 years old. You've been playing this game, and now you've been playing it this season for 4 months.
It's the same game. It's
It's the same game. It's the same ball. It's the same size of field.
Not the leather helmets when you played that, right?
Yeah, leather. Yeah, I mean that was wild. But you line up and you play the game,
Absolutely.
and at the end of the day, usually better team
Fair.
wins. And it's, I mean, right now it's 2 premier teams in the FCS, and they're going to line up on Sunday. And
And I've been saying, Brian, I've been saying to the fans out there that go, like, especially NDSU SDSU fans, somebody's going to have to lose the game. And a fan base might think, or a fan might think, well, this is the end of the world. In my opinion, with James Madison moving on, your Sam Houston's gone, even your Jacksonville States, who are at least heavy hitters within top 25 polls and within media.
You're still ranked too high.
You're
I agree. We're not ranked. We're still
Jamie?
ranked too high.
Thanks for stealing my line.
too soon. The thing about it is if you think these over the next 10 years, these two teams won't match up at least another 2 to 3 times in Frisco,
I highly agree.
you're absolutely crazy. So it's going to happen again. They're each going to get their swings. Now, if one team takes all 4 of those, that's a different narrative than
That's
splitting
a
few
huge
times.
narrative. If
Myself, I get the quarterbacks, I guess, which is a pretty simplistic one, but
Cam Miller.
it's just interesting to see the statistics, like I kind of brought up earlier in the episode.
they're interested.
Cam Miller has thrown 4 touchdowns against South Dakota State as a starter, 1 interception. He's thrown for over 400 yards. His completion percentage is over 65%. And then Mark Gronowski, no touchdowns, high completion percentage, effective. But he hasn't had to do it because SDSU has performed so well. And that does not just downplay Mark Gronowski or make my opinion. I believe Mark Gronowski is the better quarterback. I believe he's more accurate, and I think that he's effective. They're probably pretty equal as runners, but I think Mark Gronowski has that thing that you can't really put on paper, where internally you go,
Better offensive talent around him.
well, of course there's better offensive talent, I would argue, within the weapons, but
On the outside.
when you look
This
at
year.
the styles of the teams and how they operate too, I just think Mark Gronowski has the thing where if I had Trey Lance and I needed 2 minutes, and I had Carson Wentz and I needed 2 minutes, or Brock Jensen and I had 2 minutes, I was just like, he's going to get it done.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. And I love Cam Miller and I back him up. But when it was SDSU, NDSU in the Dome, we could have gone down and scored. And this is not my reason or thinking. But the whole time, just like Dak Prescott with the Cowboys, I think to myself,
Who?
I don't know if we're going to be able to get this 2-minute drive. But with Brady and Rodgers and others, you go, nah, we're fine. And I feel that way about Mark Gronowski. I just think he's kind of got that it factor, and I respect the hell out of him as a player and a quarterback.
Yeah.
So, and we met his family and his brother
Yep.
Ryan.
Super
hell of
nice
a-
people.
Hell of an athlete as well.
Yeah.
And they were super nice people last
Mama
night.
Gronowski was super nice.
Yeah, shout out to Deb. She does watch some stuff every now and then. So
Dude,
shout out to her.
Deb, I love you.
Yep. Gronowski clan was fun to meet last night. So, fans, as you guys, we're going to get a few more of your comments.
Get some shade comments in.
Absolutely. So we have XD coming from YouTube. Definitely disagrees on Eds. He says, whoever is speaking is uneducated. Matt Eds is a scum and a baby. Ooh, definitely disagrees. The happiest people watching this game will be the NFL scouts. Yeah, shout out, honestly, Ron Lowney to there's a lot of NFL talent. That
There
could be on
is.
this
There
team.
is. I mean, you got
So,
you got one guy on each team that is going to be a
Second day probably.
Yep.
second day. I think SDSU's tight end.
Kraft might sneak in the first.
Yeah. Might be at the tail end.
not gonna be a
but
first
yeah.
round.
I don't
Mel
think the
Kiper
first
has him
rounder,
as
and I
the number
forget that it's
2.
only the first round is the first day.
First round. Yeah.
I think
they're
he's off,
about second, third round.
he's off the board. I would be highly surprised if he's not off the board in the second round.
Yeah.
I would be
Same
super
with Cody.
surprised.
I would love to see
Cody
him
maybe
wear
a
silver
French
and blue
third.
on Sundays.
Yeah,
I think
Cody.
he's the third offensive
Yeah,
lineman.
I think Cody can definitely, when he goes to the combine, I think he can get himself into the
Can he
second
play?
round.
But can Cody play right tackle or guard?
Very similar to
Very-
how
he-
Bolson did with the
yeah,
Bengals. No
yeah.
problem.
Yeah, they can put him where he's going to be one of those linemen they bring in and say, we can put you anywhere but center.
XD says SDSU wins by 10 plus. The talent is either close at this point. We'll have to see XD when we get our game predictions coming
So
up
disagree with you, XD, but we'll go to that. So
Ron Lowney, I thought so, but even as a Bobcats fan, I don't agree with you. Oh, he's replying to somebody, so I'm just reading that comment. Here we go. Big Jacks. All right, Jacksonville State. You got it. You take a team that is relatively new to Frisco, you put them against a team that calls Frisco a second home, make them rivals, and you get a game that will be decided with 3 seconds left. Ooh, what a comment!
Wow.
I like
yeah,
that. I
I like that. Cocky Nation.
I hope it's
didn't
decided how JMU decides the games at the end of the game.
I thought Brandon Owens is the only thing good to come from Jacksonville State. That comment is number 2.
Your nose is
It is. My nose is really itchy today.
Yeah.
Always on the right.
Always in the right.
Yeah.
Back to your conference stuff. PR says, I might consider rooting for other conference rivals once Hauck is gone. It's a personal coaching grudge. Totally. Joshua Hoffman, my man, I cannot wait to see you today and tomorrow. I got to meet you on the top of a B-Nubs, which was awesome in Fargo, watching live from Whataburger. So, live from a Whataburger.
Get the spicy
And
ketchup.
the Blue Bloods.
Drive safe.
The Blue Bloods, one of the best shows.
Zach,
Yes.
we'll see you tonight.
Oh,
What's up, Zach?
Big Bloods.
Everyone watch the Blue
Blue
Bloods.
Bloods.
Listen to them. This is the best FCS
Follow the Blue
podcast.
Bloods.
And by the way, you want to talk about like just a buttery voice, man.
Dude.
He's just
No, seriously though, like if you guys are all on this page and you have not listened to the Blue Bloods, please check out the Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
It is the best.
Yeah.
I stand by this no matter what. Screw this podcast. Turn this off. Go listen to the Blue Bloods.
Zach could be at a Whataburger right now too, talking about the game. Watch what he's saying. Like, listen to him.
You guys aren't here in the Airbnb, but it is funny because the camera is way beyond the laptop.
But we're looking at the
But
laptop.
every time somebody wants to talk to the laptop, all these 5, they keep looking straight off to the left. It's pretty awesome. He says the Blue Bloods say Malk should easily be a first-round pick, and Kraft will easily be second and third-round pick. And he also says, better catch you guys in Frisco tonight. Appreciate y'all. We absolutely will see you.
Yes, sir.
Like I
man.
said, Zach, I'll text you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ron Lowney says, I don't think SDSU fans will be able to handle another last-minute national championship loss again. Yeah, that would hurt pretty bad.
Still got it on video.
All right, we've got about probably 15 minutes left on this live stream. So the things that I'm really curious about is we got a really great question in our last FCS Fans Nation podcast. Heart and head. There's heart and head argument. And I'm interested if anybody's heart lines with NDSU and this whole crew. I'm guessing not.
No.
What does your heart tell you? What does your head tell you? Kind of without making your final score prediction, Brandon.
So my heart actually tells me to go against NDSU. But my head is telling me because the Bison are undefeated in Frisco, I've seen it happen in person one time beforehand. My head is telling me to go NDSU, but I just don't know.
Rev, what do you think?
Well, I said this yesterday on Fargo Radio. I said that the best thing for the FCS would be for North Dakota State to lose because it brings another champion in. And I also said that one of the best things to happen to the FCS was North Dakota State going on the run they've had because it has brought visibility to our subdivision. And with that, my heart says SDSU because I do view them as my second team after SFA. I've become a fan of theirs over the past few years. And whenever I didn't have a team in the spring season, I was supporting SDSU well before they made it to Frisco. My head also says SDSU, and here's why. Streaks have to end at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're gambling. At some point, you have your luck. And I'm not saying NDSU is lucky, but at some point, your run has to end. And I think that this is the team that can do it. So my heart and head both are going for the Jaguars.
Here's a question for you, though. Hasn't the streak ended? Because I'm pretty sure James Madison ended it 1 year.
We ended it. Yeah.
But
Pretty sure Sam Houston ended it another year.
That's been my tweet since
The streak ended, the dynasty did.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
let me
even-
phrase that. The streak of winning in
Did I
Frisco
steal your-
has to end.
there you go.
No,
Yes,
that's
yes,
heartfelt. You mentioned
Yeah.
that tweet.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that what you said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, to be because he's right. To be specific, the streak in Frisco has to end. Like it has to at some point.
Brian, what do you think? Heart and head. What do you tell you?
Heart, I can't go against my team. I can't go. It's NDSU head if I'm just going to look at paper, which the game is not played on paper. But if I'm going to look at the paper and I'm going to say line
Blasphemy.
everybody up, it's SDSU.
Yep.
It is.
Hi, buddy.
But that's why the game is played. That's why they go on the field and play it, because realistically, if I remember correct, listening to your guys' first podcast of the year, I'm pretty sure everybody in the podcast said we don't even need to play the season.
In fact, I was going to bring that up, Brian.
We don't even need to play the season.
End of our podcast last season, which was we all said these two were
I think Kyler was actually very adamant about it. Was like, there's really not a reason to play this season.
No, this was Matt, and he was just being a jerk. And before the podcast, I don't know if you guys know this, but before every podcast, Matt writes down what I have to say.
He does.
He says, if you want some of this YouTube money, you gotta just say what. Yeah, so he's like, there's no reason to play. We returned 19 out of 21. We were unstoppable in the playoffs. We're gonna win. Every team sucks in the FCS. That's what Matt said, and all I had to go was, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, man.
I'm about as a man of industry as I am a workout god as Brian Thompson. Jesus. Jamie,
same size arms.
Heart and head. What do you think?
My heart just says, please let this be a fun, awesome game, because I really don't care who wins. I mean, I'll be obviously wearing blue and root for South Dakota State because NDSU's won enough. Oh, your face itch now?
Yeah.
It's weird how mine's on the right, yours on the left. My head just, we'll find out later what my head says, because I'll do that in our predictions. I will want to say no weapons have appeared in the background of this live podcast, unlike the last one where axes were brandished behind me.
Yeah. I forgot my axe, so I do apologize.
Yeah. Justin is the actual lumberjack here.
And I do own axes.
Yeah.
So that's
so he was proud to see Gretchen and her dad come in with some axes. So,
hell yeah.
I think they're still watching too.
Kyler Neal, what do you think? Head and heart.
My heart's actually more torn than you would probably imagine, because I have been pretty vocal. I hate everything the state that this guy stands for. I will not root for anything. He brings me shirts every single year. He gives everyone NDSU
it's that
stuff.
yellow shirt he has on of that state that he.
I hate Idaho. That's the Vandals suck.
Matt, the camera's up there.
Matt, camera's up there.
Yeah, Matt, that's up there.
Before you finish, cheers to Chris Hammond, and we wish you were here, buddy. That's why I'm wearing the
No, we don't.
Here.
Yep. Hey, Hammond.
D-Law, where you're at.
And D-Law.
Thanks for the free Airbnb, Hammond.
So the heart and head.
So I'm a little more torn than you would think because of my NDSU despise. Because if SDSU wins, they can officially say that they are better than Eastern has ever been in the D1 era.
Yep.
Right now, the resumes of the last 12 years are actually fairly similar.
Yep.
This is going to be their second time. Has very similar semifinal appearances, very similar playoff appearances. Eastern's going on the decline. SDSU is going on the incline. And if they win one, I would say they get a step above Eastern in the last 12 years. So
But
that's what I'm a little bit.
Have the same amount of national championships as Eastern.
No, right now they have 0.
Oh,
if they win,
Yeah.
but the last 5 years they're on the incline. Like I would put them above.
Okay.
So that's where I'm a little bit torn because I don't want to see another team jump above my team in the national perception, even though we suck this year. But I will never root for you guys. So as you can see, all of that I was just saying was a bull-faced lie. I've been wearing this every single playoff episode. F the Bison. My heart is going for the Bunnies. And you know what? I will be a little bit sad, but I'll still cheer the hell out of you guys.
Wouldn't NDSU fall below than Eastern if they won?
No, we're NIL.
There should be with that budget.
Yeah, it's
pretty obvious
Let's go.
pretty obvious on my realm. My dad raised me from the farmhouse, NDSU.
As a fighting hawk.
Lineage.
That's a fighting
Love the
UCS
Bison.
Postal Hawks.
Love the
USDS.
Bison, hate the Sioux. That's where it was. Watching VHS Bison games growing up, stopping at Stop and Go for a gas fill up, which got you a free ticket to the Bison game. Going to Subway, you get the 2 foot longs. They give you the ticket to the Bison game. So the only offensive thing I ever hear is people go, you start liking the Bison like what, 2012? I go, oh, buddy, you don't know me at all.
2009.
So my heart, of course, lands with NDSU, and my head just tells me South Dakota State is just a better team this year, and we'll see how that plays out. There's been 2 times in Frisco I felt that. I felt in 2011, which was the first year, that this was all about going down to see how we'd compete against the best of the FCS, which was Sam Houston, and we'll see what would happen, and we ended up winning. The only other time I was very convinced we would lose, Jamie will be upset, was 2017. I was
Oh, now it's just on the left side.
I was very convinced NDSU had no chance in 2017, and they won. So my head does say SDSU. So, gentlemen, as long as we'll read 3 more comments here before we make our game predictions. Chris is licking his chops for next year. Hey, Eck in Idaho, we never know, right?
Just a shout out. I did meet Jerry Rice Award winner Giovanni McCoy at the airport yesterday. Good kid, good family, well-deserved award winner.
I got to rebuttal to Grant because there's one thing SDSU does not have that Eastern does. They've never lost to Eastern Washington in blowout fashion in the playoffs.
Oh, yes.
But I think is Grant a JSU fan?
Grant
Grant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eastern has one thing.
That's this Grant?
Yeah.
Our man.
Well, you know what? All I can say is this: Conference USA, pathetic conference.
Horrible. Wish you were Sunbelt.
Why wouldn't you come to Cheney, you pansies?
Trust me, we wish we were in the Sun Belt too.
I still heart you, Grant. We'll have a beer tonight.
Before we roll out, actually, I'm going to give the Taco King an opportunity here. Taco King, do you maybe on the random have a taco bet you might want to propose?
Ooh.
First, I'll give you 10 seconds here just to think about it. If you've got one. If you do, let me know because I'd love to click the actual segment intro, which I built for you personally.
No, just do it while he
got
finishes.
it. Ladies and gentlemen, before we end it, of course, we want to do some taco bets and game predictions. Let's start with those taco bets.
It's time to put your money where your mouth is. And if you're right, put some tacos in there too. This is Thompson's Taco Bets.
That's Thompson.
Live.
Wow.
Brian Thompson is going to propose a taco bet.
I'm going to miss tacos tomorrow.
What do we have there, Mr. Thompson?
So without giving my game prediction away, I think the key for NDSU is Cam Miller.
Okay.
I truly believe it's Cam Miller. I watched Cam Miller play probably the worst game I've seen him play in the semifinal game. Cam Miller attempts over under 18.5.
Ooh, good. If you guys, last game he threw 22 passes against South Dakota State. Prior to that, I think it was 17. I think if somebody will Google it, but yeah, that's close. All right, over under 18.5 passing attempts for Cam Miller in the game tomorrow. Brandon Owens, what do you got?
With the trend that has happened every time they have played NDSU or SDSU, I'm actually going to take the over.
Grant Walker. That was jazzy, he says.
Good job, Saxy. That's it.
Rev, what do you got?
I mean, I think given where the game might be as it gets into the second half, I think he's going to have to throw more than run the ball. I think you're going to see him have to take the over. Now, I mean, does he complete more than one? Probably 2. So, I mean, he'll be there. So, you got to take the over.
Mr. Thompson, you proposed it. So, Jamie, go ahead.
I think you're going to see a more balanced North Dakota State offense because South Dakota State has the best run defense in the FCS. And Cam Miller will get his yards rushing, I think. And Tamarick going to play? I don't know. Somebody will be there that'll run the ball. They've got 26 running backs. But I think they want balance. So I think it will be slightly over whether they win or lose. Either way, I think they're going to throw the ball more than we expect them to throw the ball.
Sounds good. Kyler, what do you think? Over, under?
No, I don't care.
Tacos either way.
I actually think he's going to throw over 20. The running backs, they've been kind of injured for North Dakota State. I think they're going to have to rely on Cam. I don't think he's as bad. We talked about this on the last podcast.
Yeah.
It was like the perception of Cam Miller is now all of a sudden he's the worst because of the semifinal performance.
Because of one game.
He hasn't been that bad.
No,
he's been solid. He's a good quarterback.
Yes, good quarterback.
Most teams would like to have him on their team if you don't have a Lindsey Scott, if you don't have a Gronowski, if you don't have an Eric Barrier kind of player. Most people would shut your dirty mouth. Most people would love to have a Cam Miller. He's an efficient quarterback. And I think he's going to have to, actually rely on the middle of the field a little more because of that stout defensive front. SDSU stops the run better than anyone this year. He's going to have to throw the ball a little bit more if they want to have a chance. I actually think he's probably going to throw closer to 25.
Yeah, let me see before you go. Let me say I make the Cam Miller jokes, but actually, like Kyler said, I respect Cam Miller. I think he's probably second. I mean, he's up there, top 5 quarterbacks. Like hell, I would
in the Dakotas at least.
At least in the Dakotas, at least maybe in the Central.
Well, Carson Camp left, so
but like I would take him as a base quarterback.
Yeah,
honestly, he's solid. He can.
He's
run.
smart.
He's a smart QB.
He's smart.
He's a
So
smart.
I
He doesn't make many mistakes.
He's a less talented
Exactly.
instinct.
Yeah, I already get enough hate from North Dakota State fans or stuff.
One
I
for
just want to let you know that I'm
without
just
interception.
this is just all in fun.
Yeah.
Like I like Cam Miller, but it's just all fun to point out the fact he only completed one pass.
But he didn't throw
Boriness.
picks. That's the difference.
yeah,
He didn't
exactly.
turn the
Yeah,
ball
he
over.
did
turn the
not
ball
turn the
over.
ball
Yes,
over.
1 for 12 is awful.
But, he
But
didn't turn the ball over.
the interception column being 0
yeah.
is big because if he throws 1 or 2, they do not
Oh,
win
they
that game.
should have thrown a couple something down stop like somewhere. Just hey, here you go.
Yeah, Cam is a smart
Very
kid.
smart guy.
Yeah, he's
He
smart.
can
He knows the game.
diagnose. I'm not sure he's quite Easton Stick smart yet, but he's working his way there. I mean,
He's still young.
yeah, he's still young, and Cam is as much crap as people want to give the kid. He can ball out,
Yeah.
and the kid can play, and he needs the
We've
ball
seen
out
him. He had
tomorrow.
5 touchdowns now. They were rushing
Yes,
against
he
North
need-
Dakota,
he-
but
doesn't
like
matter.
He needs the
This is
ball out
impressive.
tomorrow.
Points
and
count.
points count.
I think he's still waiting for that come out game, and I hope it's tomorrow.
Yeah. 18 of 25 is what he's going to throw. So you guys are born with the over. Under by
Under
0.5.
by 5.
18 for
All right.
25. He throws.
I'll throw out a bonus bet of a bottle. I will send somebody a North Dakota bottle of booze.
No thanks.
If you in this group can nail the exact amount of completions and touchdown passes
12-1.
for Cam Miller.
for Cam Miller.
18-2.
12-1.
21 for 29.
Jeez.
That's what he's gonna do.
Wow.
He's gonna
Tyler
throw.
doesn't want the booze.
He's gonna throw 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's also gonna rush for 1.
Damn.
Okay.
Cam Miller's got
Tyler,
a
if you
game.
hit that, I will pay for your plane ticket to come here next
Because
year.
NDSU might win the game.
Man, I'm going to say he goes like 15 of 22, and I think he only gets 1 touchdown. I think he gets 1 on the ground, too. I think he throws for 1.
So 2 throws for 1, runs for 1.
But yeah.
Owens, what do you got?
I'm gonna say 16 for 20, and he has 2 touchdown passes.
If you want to impress a JV fan, you say 16 for 21 because that was the score against Virginia Tech.
I with your guys' predictions, I hate to say I'm kind of liking NDSU's chances a little
Hey,
more.
win the game.
Yeah,
But you know what? If those are the only 2 touchdowns you get.
Well, one of those interceptions was a pick 6.
All right, gentlemen, this has been unbelievable. Of course, we're going to do our game prediction segments here, but quick shout out here. Bill Den says, just want you guys to know you've done an awesome job with this podcast. Bill, that honestly means the world to us.
And you've done an awesome job listening.
Listening and being a fan.
Active listeners.
We've done this podcast, us 3, throughout the season, and then, of course, having our guest appearances, just because we love the FCS and we love our teams and we just want to have a lot of fun. Kyler, NAIA with Eastern Washington. Just remember that. So
Yeah, like,
Simon
so-
Frazier.
just remember who
Frazier.
called it.
Yeah.
Just remember who called it for
But
you.
Matt,
That's
before you go to the name,
that's where you're heading. Just remember that.
for everybody who's
I'm
listening,
leaving this house.
but for those of y'all who are listening, like Brandon and I, we get to hang on the coattails of these 3 guys and all the work that they do running the page and running everything else. So definitely, if you see them in Frisco, give them the biggest shout outs.
No.
For all the stuff they do. We
don't want
we
it.
get to show up every week and talk trash about our conference and about the rest of the FCS and the stupid geography.
So do we. We
Oh
talk
my
crap about their
gosh.
conference too.
I called their whole conference crap all year.
Conglomeration.
It's a conglomeration
There you
crap.
go.
But that now goes to the OVC Big South.
Yeah.
Yes,
But-
I agree
but-
with that.
But all the work that they do, especially Matt, man, like definitely get him a beer, get him something when
Yes.
you see him.
Yeah.
He would prefer a big frosty
I'd take a big frosty.
And he loves old fashions.
Yeah.
Absolutely loves old fashions.
I wish I did. You know me, I don't want any of the credit. I just like the fun. But let's roll into our final segment, guys, here before we hit our hour tops, our playoff prediction segment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. It's time to predict the game. Like I said from the beginning of the podcast, number 1, Ron Lowry, you put go big, go blue, go Jacks. We heard that a lot last night at the karaoke bar.
By the
We
way,
might
if
have
you-
been at the South Dakota bar.
if you ever want to get South Dakota State fans to ignore how bad your karaokeing is, start and finish your set with "Go Big, Go Blue, Go Jacks."
Yeah,
and
they
they
love
love you
that.
the whole night.
All right, guys, it's time for a playoff prediction segment. We have a blue Gatorade. We have a green Mountain Dew. We also have Old Smoke Tennessee whiskey here in the middle. The Old Smoke Tennessee whiskey has been poured into 6 different glasses.
Mango habanero flavor.
And
they're a full shot.
they're a full, yeah, wink, wink.
We're not pansies.
Mr. Brandon Owens, I will open the caps here for you. Your prediction first. Give us a score. Pour in the amount that will make that whiskey bearable.
Get
and
cocky.
then enjoy your shot for your prediction, my man.
Go big.
Cocky prediction.
So I think, oh my gosh, I think it's going to be a very close game. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter, and I think it's going to come down to who has the ball last. That being said, SDSU has been stout all season, so has NDSU, but I think SDSU has the slight advantage because of the 5 players I named earlier. So with that being said, 31-24.
As he takes
SDSU.
the shot, we all
Take
say,
it.
"Go big, go blue, go Jacks." There you go, buddy. And then
There you go,
we'll do a hit. We'll sing "Hail the Bison" if
That's
someone
good.
picks the Bison. Good job,
Damn right it is.
Rev. What do you got?
So, like I said earlier, to me, this is probably going to be the best national championship game that we've seen the entire stretch of the whole time that's been in Frisco because of the atmosphere, because of the teams that are playing, because of the hatred between the two teams. You know, we're getting a good rivalry game here. You know, so I hope you have tickets to come. If you don't, I hope you watch. Don't watch the NFL on Sunday. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, watch this game. When it comes,
Nobody cares about Matt's Cowboys.
Hey, shut up. I think, you know, I think the spread right now is 5.5 points. The over under is like
47 and a half.
47 and a half. That's what we were passing around earlier when you saw us move the phone around.
That's low.
To me, I think I would take the over on that. I think it's going to be a game where it's SDSU 31, North Dakota State 28. So I'm going to pour.
All righty. As he takes the shot, just like last night. You ready? Go big, go blue, go Jacks. There you go, my man. All right, 2 in a row there, Mr. Thompson. What do you think?
You know, when you look at the game, the Jacks on paper are the better team. They are. They're playing great football. They've had one game all year where they had kind of a letdown, but at the end of the day, they still beat you and I. They've been building up to this moment for the last 8 years to get NDSU. My heart hurts. My heart is all Bison all the time.
Yep.
But if I'm being a fair sports fan,
Boo.
I gotta.
Oh!
You say the fuck of it. Let's go Bison! Bison with your tails up in the air. University, you can kiss what's under there.
What a switch. Oh, we're gonna
That is so much better than Montana's belly of a pig.
Enjoy it. Kyler Neal, what do you have there, my man?
Well, like the amazing words from the great Kelly Clarkson, a moment like this. I have no clue what I'm saying.
That song popped in my head.
Yeah, when you said a moment like that, some people wait a lifetime.
And that's why Kyler didn't karaoke last night.
By the way, that was so bad. We're not going to get a YouTube copyright thing for that.
No.
What are you doing?
Oh, I was just making sure glass.
What's really annoying is I would rather drink it from Mountain Dew, but you have Gatorade Frost. This might be the decision I'm making just because I'd rather drink this with Mountain Dew. All right, so the game's it's a good game. It's really, really tough to beat a good team twice in the season. You've heard me say this since 2016 when we started these podcasts. It's almost impossible to beat a good team twice in the same season.
I mean, if the refs didn't help out the first time with the bow and arrow call.
Also, what helped NDSU was so bad in the second half.
Yeah,
That was the best.
Wait,
thing.
NDSU played the second.
Nope, they didn't.
Okay.
No, that was
So
actually
it is extremely tough to beat a good team twice in the season. The good news is they're not playing a good team. I can't say that.
NDSU's not that good team.
They're just not that good. No, I do think this is
You like how it's
SDSU's time to
different,
shine. I think they're legit. They have deep talent on the offensive side. And I've been saying this for a while. This is the first time we have seen in NDSU's dynasty that they don't have an elite rushing defense. SDSU has the defense that NDSU typically has. And the injuries, they're piling up. That's not an excuse.
No.
But when your team is already a little bit slumped compared to what it was, and you lose Hunter, right? The Walter Payton Award winner of this year, Sam Herder. I just think it's SDSU's game to win. So, yeah, go Bunnies.
Go big, go blue, go Jacks. There you go.
Oh, Mountain Dew would have been better.
I selected the Bunnies on the Jackrabbit Illustrated podcast to win in the spring season during the regular season. And I did it based off of two arguments. I said,
Just getting us ready to cheers, Matt.
NDSU just knows how to play South Dakota State, and they were in the dome. And I thought that was enough to put a bad NDSU spring team to actually beat South Dakota State. And I swore after NDSU lost to SDSU in the spring that I would never make that mistake again, that I would use logic and that I would use not my heart. I believe South Dakota State is, in fact, the better team this year. I picked SDSU to win in 2021. I picked them to win this year. I unfortunately will go with a score of the Jackrabbits of 28, NDSU 21, and I will pick the Jacks to win here in Frisco.
Oh, yep. Wow. Matt?
Worst NDSU fan ever.
Oh! I need a chaser.
Yeah!
Oh, that green and yellow chaser was good. Okay. Glad I made that prediction. Jamie Williams, up to you, man.
All right, we're going to be the last one here. As we know, North Dakota State's had 3 weeks to prepare. They've never lost here.
Never lost.
You always, the other team kind of comes in behind, and they've never lost here. And there's a stigma around it. There's mystique. So I think we're going to have.
They're unbeatable.
They are. They're pretty unbeatable here. I think we're going to have a 28-20 game. But it's going to be the Jackrabbits.
Oh! You got a Corso Rabbit here. Unbelievable. FCS Fans Nation, thank you so much for joining us. We've got creepy bunnies hopping around. You've got bison roaming the streets of Frisco. If you see us out tonight, we'll be out at barbecue for lunch.
And if you see that tomorrow, it's me.
Bunny on that.
Make sure you look for us. We love you. We appreciate you. Got some shout outs from folks listening to Georgia all the way to Texas. Cheers to all of you guys.
In Texas.
We will see you at the national championship game. Come up and say hi at the tailgates.
Matt, did you need another shot?
And I think, I'll take a little bit here because I think we're all going to say one word when we clink the glasses together at the same time. I think everybody knows what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the FCS Fans Nation podcast. Enjoy the national championship game and go!
Thank you for listening to the FCS Fans Nation podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe to this podcast on your preferred listening platform, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google, or even YouTube. And make sure to follow our FCS Fans Nation social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you for listening to the premier podcast for FCS football. Boom.